Hello family and welcome to another recipe video. Today is Sunday and today is my food prep day. So I prepped my breakfast, which are breakfast cookies that I'll be taking to work with me. I'm also prepping a big batch of black bean soup. Sunday is also the day where it's a no makeup day because my face needs a break and I pretty much wear makeup 6 days a week because there's always stuff that I do on Saturday, but Sundays is a no makeup day. It's also a hair day and it's a cook day. So today I'm making black bean soup, and before we get started, you're gonna need about I'm using 4 cups of cooked black beans. I cooked my black beans in my Instant Pot. You can get canned if you want. So yeah, let's get started. My husband loves this recipe, so I'm making a lot of it. It's one vegan thing that he'll eat. And yeah, I'll be taking this to work with me for the 5 days of work. I love this recipe. It's so simple and it's kind of basic. You can kind of make it any flavor profile you'd like. You can add things like cumin to it or hot sauce or all kinds of stuff to it. But this is just a basic thing. And then my husband and I like to individualize the flavor profile after it's cooked. So let's begin, and I hope you enjoy it. All right, so for my black beans, I took 4 cups of black beans, soaked them overnight, and then I cooked the black beans in the Instant Pot, just covered them with water. I did it plain. I think I added a little bit of kombu in it just for gas. It kind of cuts down on gas, or a piece of seaweed. Actually, I don't think I did. I know I did. And I cooked them, the black beans, for 12 minutes because I wanted them to be a little bit softer. And then I'm letting it come down to pressure for 15 minutes. So right now it's 8 minutes. It's on warm. And then I'm going to take them out, let them cool off, pull out the seaweed if I can, and we'll add the black beans to the soup. I did not salt the black beans. I literally just soaked them, rinsed them, picked over them, rinsed them again, and then added them to the Instant Pot. So I'm starting here with some veggies. I have a full sweet onion. These are heirloom carrots, or like heirloom baby carrots. You can use any carrots that you want. This is just what I had on hand. I also have a lot of celery. I'm gonna probably add a little bit of garlic in it, but it's not shown. A little pro tip that I learned when cutting onions, because I always get teary eyes, is to get a paper towel or cloth and wet it and set it next to the onions, because the fumes from the onions that make us kind of tear up or cry, the onion will look for the closest water source, which is why it always goes into our eyes, because it's the closest water source. But if you put a wet paper towel or a wet towel next to it, the fumes or whatever the chemical is will go to the closest water source. And it does work. I didn't think it would work, but it works like a charm. You'll see that I'm using a lot of vegetables here. Many times people go, oh, that's a lot of veggies in a soup, but I always try to get veggies in like any way that I can. I might even add corn to this when it's done cooking, but here is what I'm starting out with. I'm going to saute these in water. I'll start with the onions and then add the carrots and celery, and then I'll show you the next steps. So the broth base that I'm gonna use is this. This is the Better Than Bouillon no chicken base. When before I became plant-based, when I didn't have any more animal products, or mostly no animal products, I used to use chicken broth in this recipe. For the amount of water that I'm gonna start with 2 teaspoons and have that make a broth. It's really very good. This brand is really good. But you can use whatever broth you want or just plain water. I'm gonna start with 2 teaspoons, taste it, and then add more if I need to. All right, the black beans are done and they cooked perfectly for me at around 12 minutes. And I like them up to be a little softer. If you wanted them not as soft, then try like 8 minutes, 8 or 9, but I really like it at this consistency. I don't know if you can see it. Some of them are starting to break up a little bit. Really great for digestion, and it works really well in this soup. Yeah, so let's get started with the veggies. All right, so here's my pot, and I'm gonna start with a dry saute. So I just heated the pot on high. I don't know if you can see that. And I'm going to just add the onions. Okay, so there is that nice sizzle. I always like to add my onions to a really hot pot or pan to start the sizzle. And then I'm just gonna add water as needed. All right, so I sauteed them on dry for about a minute. And you can see the little yummy flavor bits are, that's why it's brown. I add a little bit of water just to kind of get all the yummy bits of flavor added in and incorporated. I'm gonna just keep going. I'm looking for my onions to get caramelized. So they'll be a little brown, not black, but a little brown. And I'll show you what those look like. I'm just gonna keep going. It's kind of hard for me to hold the camera and talk and cook at the same time, but just wanted to let you know where I am. I should also tell you that I've moved the temperature down so it's on 7 instead of on high. Whoa, all right, it's been cooking for, I don't know how many minutes, but this is kind of the color I'm looking for so that the onions are caramelized and they're kind of sweet when you bite into them. And so now I'm going to add the carrots and celery. All right, I added a big, just added all that in there. That's what it looks like. I didn't add any more water. I'm just kind of pushing it around a little bit. And I'm gonna add the water and let the carrots and celery get a little bit of soft in the water. And that's actually gonna create a broth already to start with just nothing else added. Then I'm going to add the Better Than bouillon, which I'll show you what I'm using, and the beans. What I'm starting with, I'm guessing around 4 cups of water. I will be honest, I never measure. I'm just gonna go for it. So if I was a guessing person, I would say 4 cups of water. I'm gonna let this come up to boil and then simmer until the carrots get a little bit softer. I'm really looking for the carrots to be al dente, not mushy, but more al dente to my taste. And then I'm going to add basically the bouillon and the black beans. Okay, so here is what I have left of this jar of Better Than bouillon. I think I'm just gonna add the rest of it in here. It's probably about 2 teaspoons. I'm thinking 2 teaspoons is a good place to start since I did not add any salt or seasoning as of yet. I'm just using the natural flavors of the veggies. But it's time to add this. All right, so about 2 teaspoons of that Better Than bouillon is the right amount for me. It tends to be a bit salty and I don't add salt to everything, so I'm gonna actually stop there and then add the beans in and let it kind of sit up and cook and get like really yummy. And then I'll show you how to make it a little bit richer. And hopefully my husband doesn't forget to bring the one thing that I asked him to bring to finish it off. It's a little bit of cooking sherry, but I use that to finish it off. You don't have to. Oh, and I'm also gonna add the chilies. All right, I started putting some of the beans in there, but I thought I would probably show you. They just turned out so beautiful. I'm very happy with it. So those are the beans. And I'm gonna let that simmer a little bit more, maybe 10, 15 minutes. We'll see. So this is kind of where we are now. What I like to do is let it simmer without the simmer uncovered because I want it to reduce a little bit. If after it simmers for a while, it looks to me like it's still a little watery, what I'm gonna do is add another, I always keep canned beans around, so I'm gonna add a can of black beans. This kind of is not really a set recipe. It's more what feels right. And I always know I need a minimum of 4 cups of beans. So adding this would be another 1.5 cups, which for this recipe, you can't have enough beans. My husband really likes tons of beans. So yeah, I'm gonna let it simmer down a little bit and see where we are in terms of how watery it is. I am gonna blend half of it. That also helps to thicken it up. But yeah, I'm just gonna let it, all the flavors marry, and I'll be back in about 20 minutes. I did decide to add the can of beans to it. This looks more like the consistency I'd like to see with this. So I rinsed them off really well and added the can. The can has about 1.5 cups of beans. This is like not a set science. This is like an act of like loving creativity and just kind of having fun with it. In here, I thought I would show you my breakfast cookie prep. Basically, it's oatmeal, bananas, dried cherries, and what else? Oh, of course, chocolate chips. That's all that's in it. A little bit of vanilla extract. That's it. There's like no salt, no sugar in there. It's really nice. And yeah, I do have a little chocolate for breakfast, but I think for the whole recipe, I only use like 2 tablespoons. And the recipe made about 12 cookies. If you're interested in this recipe, how I did it, yeah, comment below and I'll show you. All right, so the soup has reduced to where I'm happy with it. I've taken about 1/2 of it. Actually, I'm gonna take a little bit more soup out, letting it cool on the side. I'm going to put it in a blender and blend it up and add it back to the soup. And that's gonna make it kind of hearty and smooth at the same time. My husband's not here yet. Oh, and I forgot about the chilies. I'm gonna add the chilies. I added 1/2 of the chilies here and 1/2 of the chilies to the pot. So I'm probably gonna put a little bit more soup in here. I think I could probably, definitely there's more than four cups of soup. This is a 4-cup measuring cup. I'm gonna add a little bit more. I'm gonna let it cool, add it to the blender, blend it up, and put it back in the soup. It makes a really lovely consistency. I may or may not be adding the sherry, the cooking sherry to it, which is really nice. Just gives a little tang, but it's definitely not necessary. Other things you can add to this soup are corn, like fire roasted corn. You can add fire roasted tomatoes to it. I really like it this way. So I'll show you the end product. All right, family, here is the finished delicious creation. This is the consistency I like. I served it over about 1 cup of rice, and I added some spicy salsa to the top. So this soup gets better the longer it sits. Just the flavors come together more, they set up better. This would also be really good with a little bit of avocado on top, or just plain. But I have brown rice on the bottom, all the veggies. It's so yummy. So I hope that you give it a try. It's not a very quick recipe because you kind of have to let things sit. You kind of have to look and decide how much water you need. What really did help was when I took half the soup out, blended it, and put it back. It would be much easier with an immersion blender. I used to have one, but it's broken and I haven't replaced it. So I use the blender. But it is hearty, it is delicious, it is fat-free. I didn't get to add the sherry because my husband's not home yet, but to add a little bit of cooking sherry at the very end is also amazing. I hope you give it a try. It is perfect for fall and winter days. It's hearty. You can eat more than one serving and not feel like that you're cheating anything. Tons of fiber, tons of vegetables, tons of goodness. I hope you give it a try. See you soon, family. Okay, I had to tell you, this soup is bomb. It's bomb, like first day bomb. It's gonna be better tomorrow. This is what it looks like when I mix it up with the rice. Oh, yeah, this soup, Yep. 2 thumbs way up. Give it a try. Peace.